My cake tastes like knockout drugs today. Hi, welcome to the SDP. I just woke up in this dark place. I have no idea where it is. All I have are this camera, this flashlight, this iPod Touch, and a British flag. That can only mean one thing. A review. Let's see what's on this.
Hello, Kevin. You don't know me, but I know you.
Of course I know you. You're Jigsaw, the villain from Scary Movie 4. And the, Saw franchise.
I know all about you. I know your interests, your talents, and your fears. I'm about to combine them all. In front of you are a flashlight, a video camera, and the iPod you're watching this message on. There is only one other item on this iPod apart from this message. I want you to review it. Should you refuse, or if the batteries on any of the devices go out before you are done, then you will be killed.
Let me guess, you're gonna flood the detention center with a deadly neurotoxin?
Sure, why not?
Okay then, I'm just gonna take his word for it and see what there is. Oh, hump no. So yeah, Shrek. I've made no secret that I hate this franchise more than anything else on this green earth. Well, almost anything. I even did an episode of editorial content on the subject, in fact. Come to think of it, you think that's how Jigsaw set up this little challenge? But not only Shrek, I'm being forced to review 2007's Shrek the Third, the first entry which the rest of the world hated. I can't do this. It's only time. Let's do this. So we start out with Prince Charming racing off on horseback to someplace, except it's only part of some cheap stage show.
You're using coconuts!
Which they are. Seriously, this is the first scene in the movie and I got a genuine laugh out of it. That can't be good. In the next scene we meet our hero, now the prince to the throne of Far, Far Away, waking up with his wife-turned-ogre, Princess Fiona. I could never wake up to an ugly mug like that. I only wake up with the king, baby. We are treated to a montage of Shrek doing king-like duties, even though he's not the king yet, and failing in ways which I could sense a mile away. For example, christening a new ship, knighting someone, and attending a dinner party. If this is what he's gonna be like as king, someone please invent the Magna Carta. Apparently Shrek has the same idea himself. See, Fiona's father, King Harold, is dying, and apparently a frog, and once Shrek insists he's a bad man, or ogre, for the job, the king recommends he seek out his nephew Arthur just before kicking it. I would play the Parrot Shop clip in his honor, but that would take too long, and I'd like to get out of here as soon as possible, thank you very much. A funeral ensues, inexplicably set to a recording of Live and Let Die by Wings.
Say live and let die.
Paul McCartney would be rolling in his grave right now. He's the dead one, right? So, Shrek, Donkey, and Puss-In-Boots set off on ship to try and find Arthur. However, Shrek just barely learns the news that his wife is pregnant. Wait, how did they even have those horns back then? It takes a while for him to get it, but he does, and next we see him back at his old treehouse, as in, lest you forget, made out of a whole tree, to discover his ogre baby. Yeah, the uncanny valley has not been kind to his Holy crow! That baby just vomited in Shrek's face like the Shoop the Whoop guy. And now he's naked and covered in an avalanche of ogre babies. Oh, wait, if I know Doug, this has to be a dream sequence. And indeed it is, with 2 wake-ups in a row, I might add.
Da-da!
Only 2 levels? We need to go deeper. Who's doing that? Finally awake and out of the nightmares, the 3 disembark and come across Worcestershire Academy, which is basically all your typical Hollywood high school trips rethemed from medieval times.
Hello, bro. Don't burn all my frankincense and myrrh.
I don't know about you, but I'm sick to death of these cliches, especially since my personal high school experience was nothing like that. Didn't follow them to the letter. Not that I want to remember it, but that's beside the point. So, do you know the MacGuffin Man?
Why, he's on the field for jousting practice, being used as the target. Yes, sir, Arthur Pendragon, as in King Arthur, is the meek and weak whipping boy of the entire school, even the infinitely more dweeby nerds.
Just look at him. He could pass for a Bishonen. You don't suppose this could be some kind of subtle anti-gay commentary? Nah, better save that for a target that deserves it. So for once, you're getting off easy.
Meanwhile, a force of evil fairy tale creatures led by Prince Charming has invaded far, far away. Fiona and a collection of other princesses, including Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Rapunzel, endeavor to escape the castle.
Seeing a Rapunzel parody now that Tangled is out is jarring, like everything else in this movie.
Speaking of which, Rapunzel betrays the group out of love for Prince Charming, the other princesses are thrown in jail, and the villainous force has renamed Far, Far Away to Go, Go Away.
It's almost as if they want you to go away from this movie. Symbolism!
Also, meanwhile, the ship that was supposed to take Shrek, Artie et al. Back to Far, Far Away crash-landed on an island inhabited by Merlin, and Artie, initially excited to take up his role as king, gets turned off by Donkey and Puss's ramblings of the responsibilities and dangers associated with the job, including the apparently hard-to-pin-down chronologically plague.
Yeah, nice job breaking it. Heroes.
Merlin tries and fails to bring Artie's spirits up until Captain Hook and his unit invades the island and lets slip about the crisis and go away. Spurred into action, the heroes are warped back home by Merlin's magic, albeit with the side effect of Donkey and Puss switching bodies.
Because... funny?
An attempt to take down Prince Charming goes awry and the four are captured, although Artie's life is spared when Shrek spills the beans about Artie just being a patsy to fill in the king's shoes with. He doesn't take it well. Temporarily, anyway. Back to the imprisoned princesses. The others complain about how useless they are, since in their respective universes the only thing they do is wait to be rescued.
Princesses admitting they wait to be rescued provides the second genuine laugh I've had so far. May God have mercy on my soul.
But Fiona and Queen Lilian encourage them to use their other traits to their advantage and help them to break out, rescue Shrek, and retake Far, Far Away. For example, Snow White sings to the birds and forest creatures to gather them to her side, then sends them to attack some gate guards with that scream from Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song. Pretty cool move, sis. Too bad they had to switch to a different song, a cover of Heart's Barracuda, for the next scene instead of letting it sink in.
Still not the most inappropriate use of music by DreamWorks Animation, given their commercials.
I'm sexy and I know it.
In other news, that Afro circus gag is way overdue to appear in my nightmares. No, I'm not going to show it to you, just take my word for it if you haven't seen it already.
In case you've been wondering about the specifics of Prince Charming's evil plan, he puts on a stage show, and not a good one at that, wherein he intends to rescue Rapunzel and slay Shrek for real.
Could you do me a favor and actually pull this off? Wait, a stage show? Egads, this was an inside job. And the head man is... Spring Breeze Dancin'.
He is stopped by the other heroes, who are stopped by charming sentries, who are in turn stopped by Artie, who gives the following inspirational speech.
Just because people treat you like a villain, or an ogre, or just some loser, it doesn't mean you are one. The thing that matters most is what you think of yourself.
By no means not a bad speech when you think about it, but nothing too inspirational. After all, lots of movies have inspirational speeches, and this ain't reaching mimetic status anytime soon.
But Artie's speech is lost on Charming, who stabs and kills Shrek. Except for the fact that he only got him under the arm, as stage actors are wont to do.
No!
You need to work on your aim.
It takes the tower from the set getting knocked down onto Charming to put him out for good and instate Artie as the new king of Far, Far Away. With that taken care of, we end with scenes of Shrek and Fiona with their new triplets and a 10-minute credit sequence. Finally, something I can skip.
So, now that I've stared my arch nemesis in the face, what did I think of it? Surprisingly, it's not as bad as I could have imagined, but it's still bad in the grand scheme of things.
The plot elements fall back on too many cliches. Shrek dreading the prospect of becoming a father, Artie having to get over the fear of becoming king, although this was played with, and of course the whole school scene says hi. A personal bias aside, I'll say the animation is good enough to compete in its market, although still not up to the higher standards of Pixar and the Japanese, especially since the animation, even on the humans, is firmly entrenched within the uncanny valley. But as it stands, even I don't think it's right to grade Shrek the Third any lower than 40%. Still an F. Going back to my personal bias, I still hate this movie and the franchise as a whole with the intensity of over 9,000 suns. Excuse me while I calculate that. Therefore, I urge you not to buy this movie or any related merchandise. I mean, there's a reason I say "You are the Resistance" at the end of every episode, and not just as a shout out to the Terminator franchise. No, I believe in the phrase, "We must become the change we want to see in the world." For example, I wanted Americans to take animation seriously again, and if I can't drive those changes myself, I thought, why not brainwash other people with them? I keyed. Okay, Mr. Jigsaw, you got your freaking review, so would you please see fit to let me go? No? Well, I've got time to kill somehow, and this thing still has some juice on it. What the? He kept my Ichigo app? Well, I'll just open it. Oh, hi, Kevin. You look like you're in trouble.
What a coincidence. I am.
Indeed. I've been waiting for your captor to switch off the Wi-Fi blocker so I could get down here. And now that you've finished our work and he held up his end of the deal, to an extent, I took matters into my own hands. By that I mean I got more help. Check your chains.
Hey, I'm free now. And on the chain, there's this tag. Ichigo, translate for me.
Thanks for the work. P.S. You owe me your soul. Stamped, Sailor Mars.
That can't be good. Well, tell her I said thank you, and not to look for me in the same place. For the moment, I'll just lie low and let the Witness Protection Program do the work for me. Until then, this is Kevin, with Ichigo, and you are the Resistance.